Welcome, everybody. This is G. You are right where you belong. We're going to take another stroll together. We're going to walk through the energetic frequencies of the month of December. We're going to take a look at mid-December because we have an eclipse. It's the second eclipse for this particular eclipse season. The first one happened at the butt end of November 30th, and there's already a video out about that one. The 30th of November was an eclipse in Gemini energy. So this eclipse is in its polar opposite because Gemini energy, just so that we're all clear, Gemini energy is this, right? It's the twins. So it's like these two pillars, and it represents the masculine and the feminine energies, the left and the right hand side. It represents talking, thinking, relating, and communicating. So the next eclipse, which is why we call it eclipse season, happens at the polar opposites. That's typically, not 100% always, but that is typically how eclipses occur. So the opposite of Gemini energy is Sagittarius energy. And so this eclipse, we'll go take a look at the details up here in the small print. It is the December 2020 solar eclipse on the 14th. The time is at 10:17 a.m. This is Central Standard Time because this is where I'm at in Illinois, USA. If we take a look at the details, it'll show us this is a new moon eclipse because it's the sun and the moon together. So anytime you have the sun and the moon at matching degrees, yes, that equals a new moon. So it's 23 degrees of Sagittarius energy, 8 minutes. All right, so we'll just say 23 degrees Sag. All right, so anytime you look at degrees, it's going to be, it stays at the number unless it goes over 30 minutes. So an example would be like over here, Jupiter. Jupiter is this number 4. In Capricorn energy, number 4 looks like that. That's Jupiter. It says 28 degrees and 57 minutes. So we would round that up because it's over 30, right? The minutes goes from 0 to 60. Because it's close to 60, or I would say over 30, we round it to the next degree, which would be 29 degrees. So this eclipse, because it's 2308, is definitely going to be a 23-degree eclipse or 23-degree new moon in Sagittarius energy. So what does all that mean? We're going to go through this and I'm going to dissect it as best that I can. We're going to dissect what does the moon in Sagittarius mean? What does the sun in Sagittarius mean? And as you look, you see, yes, I'm sorry, the crescent is the moon. I forget. The sun is the circle with the little circle in the center. This little being with the antennas, so to speak, that's Mercury. And this arrow, right? The arrow, the red arrow, that represents Sagittarius energy. Sagittarian energy is the seeker. The Sagittarian energy is the archer. It is the half man, half horse, or half being, half horse. It has an arrow that it carries, right? A bow and arrow. It doesn't just take the bow and arrow and point it up at the sky and let it go. What that being does is they have a target that they see. They have a target that they fixate on. And they're excellent when it comes to being focused. Excellent. If you need someone in your life that can help you to stay focused, that can help you to stay pinpointed on something you want to get done, pull in some Sagittarian energy. They can stay very focused. So, think of the horse, the racehorse. This is another good imagery for the Sagittarian energy. When the racehorses, when they line them up, they have those blinders on. They have one on the left side of the head and one on the right hand side. And what that does is it creates this tunnel vision in a way, right? It keeps them focused so they do not get distracted to what's going on to the left of them and what's going on to the right of them. So typically Sagittarians can get a lot of stuff accomplished because of the ability to keep focused. And when they keep that focused, that arrow then gets let go. They release it because they focus their eye on it. It's have that single eye, and that's what they do. And once they release that arrow, it typically hits the goal because it was able to stay focused. Focus is really important, especially in the year of 2020. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more in respects of the moon and the sun and Mercury being in the sign of Sagittarius, because Sagittarian energy means so much more than that. It represents belief. What are we all saying during 2020? I just got to believe, got to have faith, religion, spirituality. That all is the sign of Sagittarius. And so a new moon, solar eclipse, this is a phenomenal big event because it's a new moon. And what do we do? If you are a listener of all astrology, you know I make a big deal out of the new moons because the new moons are a time of a new beginning. We are embarking on a new path. We're inviting a new journey. This is what Sagittarius energy is. It is the seeker. It says, I will go and I will explore. I will seek. It is a seeker of knowledge, a seeker of truth. It represents foreign languages, foreign lands, foreign countries, places that you have to travel to, that you have to get in an airplane, or it could be getting in a car and driving long distances, right? Like out of state, long road trips. Sagittarian energy is all about typically getting somewhere and taking flight, going up in the air and traveling. Journey through the sky. Jupiter is its ruler. So it has the ability to be expansive. It's like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it big. Go big or go home. To the Sagittarian mind and their vision, the bigger, the better. Pay attention to the degrees, folks. Let's not forget the degrees. Those are extremely important. If you are a follower and you've got your chart, pull it out. Follow along with me because all you're going to do to make this simple for you is find out where this arrow is on your chart. Find out what house number it's in. Okay, that's all you got to do. And then this will help you. You will take the meanings that I give for Sagittarian, the ones I already gave, and you'll start filling up that house number for yourself. Like take your chart and start writing this stuff in. This is how you learn astrology. If you are new here, thank you for being here. Welcome. Come on in, sit down, get ready to be open your mind, get ready to elevate. This is all about this. This is a new moon in Sagittarius. Get ready to elevate, get ready to expand your horizons. Sagittarian energy touches in with the cosmos. It brings down information from the universe. Sagittarian energy is super expansive. It adds to things. It's typically very optimistic and positive and abundance of good, abundance of good. It can exaggerate. It can have judgment. It can have, and these would be like judgments that it's, like unconscious judgment, but it's about beliefs. It's about foreigners. There's a lot of different keywords, and there's 3 different levels in which an energy can operate at, right? We have vices and we have virtues, and then we have some that sit right in the middle. So those would be the 3 levels. So when someone says something about a particular sign and they're like, oh, but everybody says this is negative about this, or everyone says only these positive things about this, there's 3 different levels that it can operate at. And I know 3 is just a simple way of putting it. Obviously, there's way more than 3 because we have, there's 360 degrees to your being, right? And so with that, sometimes there's these super extremes and then there's these lesser extremes. And some people do really good with just operating in the middle. And then some can go in those gray areas, right? And in those gray areas, it's where we fill in all those 360 degrees. But Jupiter rules this sign. And Jupiter, think about Jupiter, right? The planet, it's the gas giant. It adds to things. So all about knowledge and learning, continuing education. This is the philosopher. This can also be very metaphysical, but it is very spiritual. Okay? It's very much about religion. It's very much about truth. It's very much about truth, and that's important. Truth and freedom are big Sagittarian keywords. Okay, truth and freedom, big keywords. The 23 degrees that you see the sun and the moon at, that's what creates the new moon. See on your chart if you have something there. And you want to give it a 2-degree orb, and I'm saying this because it's important. All right, 2-degree orb means 2 degrees before 23 and 2 degrees after. The moon and the sun are at 23. So when I say a 2-degree orb both ways, between the degrees of 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. See if you have a planet in Sagittarius or a house cusp line, a significant house cusp line. That could be your ascendant. When I say a significant house cusp line, would be the ascendant, right? Ascendant and descendant, or the IC or the midheaven. Okay, those are the 4 angles in a person's chart, the 4 cardinal points in a person's chart. Cardinal meaning the beginning, something happening. There will be something that occurs. If you don't have your chart and you know you're brand new and you're thinking, okay, I'm totally lost, the best way is to just dive in. Just dive in where you're at, but you need a chart to do that. So find me, okay? I'm at astrog.com. You get a chart, you get it for free. That goes to every all astrology subscriber, right? You're in this community. You belong here. You are right where you belong. Comment below. That's the fastest way to find me. And just reach out to me there and I will get a chart to you in your hands. For those of you who have been here before, thank you so much. It is your existence. It is your presence. It is your ability to be here and to be part of this community that makes it what it is. You are all astrology. I cannot do this without each and every single solitary one of you. Each one of you matters. Nobody here is forgotten. Nobody here is ever left behind. So this new moon is a beginning, and it's about our beliefs. Okay, our beliefs about our beliefs, how we think about our beliefs, because Mercury is part of this, right? Look at Mercury is only 3 degrees away of the sun and the moon. So we're going to go forward with a new way. Well, this is a new moon, but it's a south node new moon. Okay, again, let's look at what the south node looks like. This chart doesn't show the south node, but if you are at home and if you have a chart, I'm going to go to the Gemini energy in this chart. If you go down here, you see the T with the horseshoe shape around it? That's the north node. At the opposite end of the north node, at the exact same degree, that's where you know where your south node is. So whether your chart has a symbol there or not, write it in yourself. And so what you'll do is you will find 19 degrees and 57 minutes in Sagittarian energy. So if I go there, 1957, what does that mean? It means it's very close to Mercury, because in essence, 1957 is 20 degrees. 19 degrees and 57 minutes is 20 degrees. Well, look at that. Mercury's at 2006. So when you have Mercury conjunct the south node, Mercury is the way you think and speak and relate and communicate. Mercury is oxygen, it's air. Okay, it's mutable air, meaning it can bend, it's flexible. All right, well, it's in Sagittarian energy. Now, remember all those keywords I just gave you about Sagittarian energy? Changing the way you think about something, being flexible, not just thinking, but the way you think about a belief you had, because it's Sagittarian energy, or the belief you had about traveling, a belief you had about foreigners or foreign countries or foreign lands or foreign anything, or about traveling. Think the way you thought about it, right? The way you communicated about it. But more importantly is also the south node. What does the south node mean? Does anybody out there know? Comment below. If you know what the south node means, that if you can comment below, I will leave this open. I will leave this video. That's why I'm putting this video up early. And I realize there might be more than one person, and that's okay. But you have to be accurate. It is an all astrology approved printout of something you can read, and it will give you information. It will give you the energetic cycles and the things that you can expect. It's your energetic weather. It's going to give you a look into your future. All right. It's an all astrology approved transit reading. So the south node is going to be all about what we have mastered, what we are no longer including in our life, because we've already mastered it. We're already done with it now. We've already graduated from it. It's a graduation ceremony in essence. It's like, okay, we already been there, we done that, we got the t-shirt even. I got an award, right? Like I did it well and I got an award. So I'm not taking that class again because I already did it. But it's the south node. It's Mercury conjunct that south node. And so it's the south node releasing. And if it's a release, what does Gemini mean, right? Are you connecting all these keywords together? If you are a serious seeker of knowledge, you will be writing these keywords down, Okay, so there's Mercury dissected in conjunction with Sagittarius, a release of a belief. What is it a release in? A release of a belief about foreigners, possibly, a release in a belief about traveling, or a release in a belief about higher education, right? Higher education meaning it's not grade school, it's not even high school. This is college stuff, right? This is continuing education, right? Going for your master's, right? This is going for your doctorate, right? So there's a release and a belief about something, continuing education, but it's a release about freedoms, a release about truth. There could be truths in your lives. It could be a release of a religion. It's a release about something. Okay, this is Sagittarius energy, which is the seeker. And a seeker keeps on seeking because ultimately they're seeking truth. And what we find out when we are seekers of truth, when we are sincere seekers of truth, we find out that over time, something that we really believed, we find out, oh my gosh, there's something else that aligns more appropriately or more closely with who I am now or where I'm at in my mind right now about how I think and what I believe and what works for me. And it's all in conjunction with my experiences. And so there's a big release, there's a big change happening. And where eclipses occur, if you have a planet at the degrees that I gave you, right? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 degrees, this is going to be very prominent in your life. But let's not be mistaken here. Because it's Mercury and the Sun and the Moon and the North Node, this will be a big deal for all of us, okay? Especially if you live in the United States. And what I will do is I will do a part 2 to this video, and it will be of the United States chart, because I will show you where this happens in the United States chart and why this is such a big deal. Okay, I know I've spoke about it before, but there I will give you the actual chart and we'll talk about it. Now let's talk about the sun. The sun is what fuels you. The sun is your willpower. The sun is how you shine, how you express creatively. All right. So we have to talk about why is it important, right? It's the sun in Sagittarius energy. So wherever the sun is, the sun will be focused on freedoms. The sun will be focused on truth. The sun will light up the truth and the freedoms. The sun will light up belief systems, but it'll be belief systems that we no longer need anymore. They served us at one time, but not now. We're done with them. Right? Think back to your ancestors, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, a couple of generations ago. The things that they believed then served them. But do those same beliefs that served them, do they serve you now in your life today? Not if you're growing and changing and evolving, which is what you're supposed to be doing, right? We get fixated on traditions, and sometimes we hold on to certain beliefs only because of, well, we've always done it that way. Well, hello, we're supposed to grow. It is supposed to serve us for a while, okay? But to hold on to it, sometimes things we have to just realize it's time to move on. Because if we don't move on, if we don't change, we don't grow. And if you don't grow, that means you're not alive. It means you're not living. And I know in 2020, a lot of us feel that way because there's been so many limitations and there's been so much fear and there have been, life's been very, very different. But trust me, just trust me, folks. This is a change that we need. And I know it's hard to find the good in it, but there is a lot of good that's coming out of this. People are evolving and changing and considering changing their ways of thinking about things, considering changing the way they communicate about things. Because remember, that's Mercury, rules the sign of Gemini. The way we relate and communicate with our neighbors, with our siblings, the way we do business, that's Mercury too. The news and the media, social media, right? That's Mercury. If you're in the States, this past election, right? This November election and media, and things that people consider to be newsworthy when they're really not newsworthy. They're not actual news. Just because it's on social media, making it news? No, that's not true. That's called, misinformation, fake news, whatever you want to call it. Back in the day, I think they called that propaganda. The sun fueling and being focused on truth, being focused on freedom, being focused on a change in a belief that we held. And the moon being part of it, it ties into your psychological, emotional satisfaction. And when we can fuel The fire, the sun is very powerful here, right? Because the sun obviously is a fire sign. It rules the sign of Leo. And maybe I shouldn't have said obviously, but it's very strong because it's happening in a fire sign, which is Sagittarius. Sagittarian energy is mutable fire, okay, which means it can change its mind, all right? It can change its beliefs. It has the ability to change. And it's when we can change our belief about something, someone, when we can change that, because a belief is very hard to change. And most people, in our history and even present day, people are willing to die for what they believe in. But we're realizing that there are some things we do need to let go, and we have to make some changes, okay? We have to make some changes. And the moon being part of this, it does involve our home. It involves our emotional home, inside of our head, inside of our heart, and those being combined together. And this is what this is. This is so what this is, the head and the heart combined. But Leo's ruler is heart energy. The sun is heart energy. It's the sun, the power of the vibrancy of that gives us the life. And so when we combine them together, we're talking about an intention of saying, okay, I am ready to release something. I am ready to let go of something. I'm ready to let go of a belief of something. So to understand this better in your life, what it is that you're letting go of, you're letting go of that which no longer serves you. And it's difficult because anytime we have to change a belief, that's a big deal. But because Mercury, we have a lot of help. Because Mercury is here on the South Node, we're going to have the assistance of the universe helping us. You see Venus over here? Looks just like Mercury. They're sisters, okay? They're siblings. And Venus is right at a critical degree in the sign of Scorpio. And the sign of Scorpio, if you listen to the November videos, there was the Scorpio new moon at 23 degrees. And it's all about emotions, bonded emotions, but it is all about our values as well. Okay, it's emotional healing, a releasing of those things. And now Venus at 29 degrees, Venus is quite serious at 29 degrees. Venus wants things to be peaceful and beautiful. She wants peace, most definitely. She wants things to be fair and balanced. Venus likes good things. She's all about beauty and harmony, and how our ability to receive. And so being in the sign of Scorpio at 29 degrees, this is this bonded energy of not just my value, because Venus rules the sign of Taurus, my value, what I value, but the opposite, right? Scorpio is our values. And so Venus at 29 degrees, it's very clear in her head what our values are. Very clear in her mind. Her and Mercury having constant conversations, because I consider them sisters. I consider them, the sisters that are always keeping in conversation. And Venus is helping Mercury big time, because we have to look at something that's happening with Mercury, okay? Mercury is over here at 20 degrees. And just days before the 20-degree mark, she was squaring up tightly the 9th, 8th, 9th, 7th, 8th, 9th. She started to square Neptune. And when Mercury squares Neptune, Mercury is the details of your thoughts and your thinking and your ability to communicate. So if Neptune is squaring Mercury, remember Neptune makes things fuzzy, okay? Makes things fuzzy. It also can cloud the details. Neptune is the murky waters. Neptune isn't an enemy, not at all. Neptune actually helps us to perfect our vision. It helps us to see when we're not seeing clearly. It helps us to raise our level of consciousness to say, okay, I can't see that. But some people can't see something and they don't realize that they're not seeing something, right? Like somebody walking around wearing a pair of glasses that have been on their head for 20 years and then always squinting their eyes and not realizing they're not able to see. And then all of a sudden, one day, somebody comes along and gives them a brand new pair of prescription lenses that actually match for where they're at. And all of a sudden, they can see clear, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea. All the stuff I was missing, I couldn't see anything, and I didn't even know it." It's like this unconscious fuzziness. But after that happens for a long period of time, yes, it takes a while. After it happens after a long period of time, we finally receive those blessings. We finally get the clear vision. So yes, Neptune's job is to make the details a little on the fuzzy side. However, what I will say is, even though Neptune is squaring Mercury, even though Neptune is squaring the sun and squaring the moon and squaring this eclipse, essentially, there's something about it that's not 100% uncomfortable. And squares, for those of you who are new here, squares, red lines, see the red lines? Right, means, oh no, what do those red lines mean? That's uncomfortable. It is. It's stress and it's tension. But it's coming from Neptune. And Neptune actually gets along really well with Jupiter. And this is good because Jupiter rules Sagittarius energy. So this is one of those squares that, even though it's a square, it's not a horrible square. It's a square where it can be angel wings coming in, meaning it will help us. Neptune will actually help us to ascend our ways of thinking and help us to elevate into new and higher ways of believing. It's about faith, having faith, okay? But remember, don't get confused about faith meaning the same as being ignorant, or faith being the same as, well, then that means I don't got to think about it. I'll just pray about it, but I don't got to be active in my life to make decisions. No, that's what Neptune has been doing. It has been teaching you all along that even though the details are fuzzy, you have to keep doing the research to see clearly. You have to still be the independent critical thinker. You have to use the brain that God gave you in addition to praying, in addition to believing in something that you can't see, in addition to believing in the higher power, the creator, the universe, God, Allah, Yahweh, the divine goddess, mother, whatever it is you believe in, whatever deity is for you, whatever you call deity, because remember, this is all astrology. All are welcome, all walks of life, all faith, two-being, four-legged, two-winged, four-legged, whatever you are, whoever you are, all who come in a good way, come on in and stay. Because we are a community that is going to grow up together. We're going to elevate together. We together are the coming age. Yes, the coming age requires us to work energetically together and to understand that we are all one. And Neptune being a part of this ecliptic energy, it's a definite change. But Jupiter as its ruler, back in ancient astrology, Jupiter was the ruler of Pisces. You see? This is beautiful, actually. And then we see the beauty of Mars. Mars, look, is in Aries, which is fire. It's a blue line, which means it trines. The blue line trines this eclipse, okay? So this is a benefit. It's a beautiful benefit. It's about freedom of our bodies, beliefs about our bodies. Because remember, Mars is your body and your action. Remember, we've been growing Mars up. Mars is no longer retrograding anymore, thank gosh. But I don't have it here, but Eris is right here at 24 degrees. And I have to mention that here because Eris at 24 degrees is squaring Pluto, okay? Is squaring Pluto pretty tightly, right? Pluto's over here with the P. Pluto's about power, okay? And when Pluto and Eris fight, it's strong, okay? And Mars will, in the following days after this date, after the 14th, when we get further into December, not many more days because Mars isn't really slow here, Mars will then be at 24 degrees on top of Eris squaring Pluto. Now remember, Eris is the revolutionary energy, that is the protest, that is people taking to the streets and saying no more, okay? That is the revolutionary energy. All right. And we are facing the next great American Revolution. This is within 2 years' time. I haven't done a detailed video about that yet, but I have been slowly trying to trickle it into these videos for those who are serious seekers of truth so that you can be prepared for what's coming. It doesn't mean all helter-skelter in chaos, so relax, but it does mean change. It does mean that our government has to change, and there will be major changes with that. And that's why all of this is here, because all of this here in Capricorn energy does mean our government, our everything that represents a foundational structure in your society is Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn. And Pluto in the last 5 degrees of Capricorn means that all that is changing. The structures of your society are changing. They are supposed to, because we're using old, outdated systems, and they have to change. And like everything in life, you're at the job, the damn tape gun doesn't work, but they won't buy you a new one. They keep saying to just glue it together. And finally one day you're like, okay, I'm just going to step on it into 1,000 pieces, so I can't glue it together anymore, so we can just get a new one. And that's what this will be, where this just breaks down and doesn't work anymore, and we need a new one. Okay? And we've already been seeing the glimpses of that. Okay? We already know that's happening if we're aware and if we're understanding what's all is happening in the world. So for this eclipse that happens in December, okay, look in your chart for 23 degrees. But here's the trick with eclipses. It's not just the 23 degrees, right? It's the orb that I gave you, those degrees, but it's also the energy that's the exact opposite of it. And the exact opposite would be Gemini energy at 23 degrees. So in your chart, you're looking not in one location, but two. You're looking for the 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 degrees of Sagittarius and Gemini energy. And then you look at the house number that it's in for your chart, okay? Doesn't matter on this chart that I'm doing, but I'm just showing you the house numbers as an example to find this in your chart, because the house numbers will tell you the area of your life that it happens in. And if you have that and you want to know more, if you want help, and you can just comment below and say, gee, this is house number 2 and 8 for me. You find out what house your Gemini and what house your Sagittarius energy is in. And yes, the house numbers are normally found in the center of your chart. Again, if you want a chart, just reach out to me and I'll take care of you. I will set you up. As long as you got your right birth digits, we will get you your right chart with your right rising sign, and you will be good to go. It's a new moon for intention. So you're releasing a belief. We're releasing a belief. Hold on to the power of Neptune and the faith and the power of prayer, being the independent critical thinkers, and knowing that this is a release that we are supposed to embrace. Do not fight this release. Do not fight this. This is something that is going to be crucial, because it'll be assisting and helping the future. The future is the North Node, right? The South Node is what we're letting go, what we already did. The North Node right here in Gemini is where we're headed. See the Gemini energy right there? This is all about where we're headed. The North Node in Gemini will be traveling / transiting, one and the same thing, will be transiting through the Gemini energies, and this will be here for the rest of 2021. You will see the North Node, it goes backwards. So when I do another video, it'll be like at 18, 17, 16, 15 degrees. Yes, the North Node travels backwards. But in 2022 of January, the North Node will enter the sign of Taurus. Mars. This is the next thing we have to talk about real quickly here. Mars transits through the Arian energy, and by time we get to January, like January 8th, I believe it is, January 7th, January 8th, Mars enters the sign of Taurus. And this is important, because when Mars is in Taurus, wherever Mars goes in your life, a new change begins. So what I want you to do is make sure that you are listening and watching and waiting for your rising sign readings, because what I have is a breakdown of where the eclipse happens in your life in December, and I also talk about your January energies. It'll talk about the location of Mars in your life, meaning where's the Taurus energy in your chart based on your rising sign. Wherever Mars goes, when it changes in energy, it's going from cardinal fire into fixed earth. So what Mars is doing is, remember, the sign of Taurus is your income. It's what you value. It's your money. It's your tangible resources. And so you're going to want to know, where is Mars transiting in your life? Again, wherever Taurus is, whatever house number it's in, that's the area of your life it's happening in. Area of your life you can expect change, because Mars is considered a trigger planet. The good news is that Mars, being in Earth, will be trining the Capricorn energy and will be trining the Virgo energy. So as Mars travels through Taurus, it'll be setting up for those of you who have anything in Virgo or anything in Capricorn. Mars will begin trining those houses. So it's not just one house that means. It means it'll be trining whatever house Virgo is in and whatever house Capricorn is in. Okay? But it will also mean that Mars in Taurus will also be squaring Leo energy and Aquarius energy. And this is important to know because mid-December, at the same time, right around the same time of this eclipse, this is why this will be a big deal, we also have Jupiter and Saturn. See where they're at here? Saturn's at 2944 in Capricorn. Jupiter's at 2857 in Capricorn. They're hand in hand, which you can expect more rules at that time. Because that's what it is. You know, Saturn sets up structures and rules. And what does Jupiter do? Jupiter adds to things. So when Saturn and Jupiter are together, I know I would expect there to be lockdowns. Now, maybe it's not full-fledged lockdowns because we do have rules in place of how we should act, how we should be when we're in groups now. But we'll see. That depends upon where you are in the world and how that's going to look. Although I already have been in touch with people, you know, on the other side of the world, and they are operating differently. Some of those places are already on lockdown. The United States is on its own timeline. As an astrologer, I would have advised a lockdown sooner. So this is happening at the same time that we have this eclipse. And so what that means is with Jupiter and Saturn here, when Mars enters Taurus, it'll start to square Jupiter and then Saturn. So that's information that you need to know if you are a Taurus, if you are a Aquarian, if you are a Leo, or if you are a Scorpio, anybody with a fixed sign, whether it's a sun sign, moon, or rising sign. This is information that is good to know. But remember, folks, together we shall rise. Together we will go through this. We will grow. We will evolve. We shall fly.